All right, and let me share here real quick. Okay, we good, Jerry?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. So welcome to the SFG Agency Group Master Weekly Zoom. It is February 15th, 2024. I did remember to hit record, so we're good to go. Here's the leaderboards for the week of the Ignite Conference. Miss Consistency, Leslie Phillips, led us in app count with 4, led us in APV with 64.9548. That also makes her the leading team leader at 64.9548. And the top state once again was Texas. Leaderboards for this week so far. Leslie and Ben are tied for app count right now at 2 each. By the way, Ben, so I don't forget, you're at 4 apps. You're 1 app away from getting that first lead credit. Ben's leading us at APV right now at 3,960. And Leslie Phillips' team right now is 2994. That's fixing to change a little bit. She had another rider last night that wrote a little dental plan. Here's the week-to-week comparison for the week of Ignite. We were at 93.5205, 6 applications. Close ratio and all that stuff was huge as always. We're always strong there. This week so far, we've already got 1 more app. We're already at 7. Even we increased from a 600% to 700% closing ratio. 5 riders instead of 3. That's fixing to change to 6. And we've already beat the APV with quite a bit of week left. 97.26 so far for the week. All right, ready to rides. We have 1 new rider in February. We do have new recruits in February, but I do not put them in here until they're actually licensed and onboarded. That's why I put ready to write right here. So remember to always be reaching out to try to do a couple people per day to keep the pipeline full to help you build that agency. You can get them to symmetry-income.biz. Great video there to share. Get them on a Zoom with your mentor and get them to sfgagencygrouphub.com to systematically walk them through the process of getting that license. I keep forgetting to take that off. So Ben, welcome again. I think that's the 3rd week in a row that we've welcomed Ben.
Ben, do you feel very welcome now since you've been welcomed 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, good.
I'm welcome.
Okay, good.
I just want to make sure Ben feels at home. So, all right. So let's move on here. All right, move on to announcements. I'm gonna start doing this every week so that we do a better job of tracking it. The deadline for production for the month of February is next Friday, the 23rd. And even though it's actually 11:59 Central Standard Time, we tell everybody 10:59 Central Standard Time because we have had times that cost us waiting until the last minute when thousands of other agents also waited till the last minute. So give yourself that hour of cushion. 10:59 Central Standard Time, the last Friday of the month. This month it's the 23rd, so it is a short month. But as far as issue paid numbers for promotions and income and net profit and all those things, doesn't end until 10:59 Thursday the 29th. So you got all that extra time to get policies issued when you're running towards those promotions. Congratulations, Todd McDonald. And welcome, Shelly. I saw that and I can't see her, but I think she's in here now. Todd reached the 5K club yesterday for the month so far. Leslie's in the 10K club right now, but she's almost to the 20K club. And Ben Mosley, in his first full month, has reached the 10K club. So again, that's welcome, Todd. I don't know if he can hear us yet, but so Todd reached the 5K, Leslie's 10K, Ben's 10K, and Leslie's super close to the 20K. I'm pretty sure that by the end of this week, well, I say that depending on how she feels. Next week when we do the slide, she'll probably be on that 20K for sure. This is only still in there because that's what we're going to talk about today. This will be removed next week. I wanted to remind everybody to track your Perform Dash. I just took a screenshot of mine this morning because, I don't have a whole lot of time to produce. And I try not to do, I don't want to, unless I know our team's getting all the leads they can handle. I try to get most of my business outside of leads. So I don't have a steady lead flow to give me real numbers here, but I do know that my APV is 15, 57, 54 at a minimum. It's usually higher than that. So if I want to do this 25K month, then it'll tell me what I need to get inventory wise to hit that. Okay. So pay attention to Perform Dash. It's in the upper right corner. This is the dashboard. And it's this icon up here, the Perform Dash right beside Summit. Okay. So pay attention to those numbers. And by the way, you can put whatever you want in here and it'll tell you what you need with your numbers on what inventory you need to hit that. National conference, now that Ignite is behind us, we need to be driving as many people to this conference as possible. And I'm sure everybody who was at Ignite conference knows how important it's going to be at this conference and be there with new teammates of yours and even guests. Commit now, Venmo $29. Congratulations to Cody Weatherford. He got his ticket at the Ignite conference. He made his commitment then, and commit to getting people there with you. And you can still do the $29. Here's the Venmo. I'm not very good at Venmo, but it does send me an alert when somebody puts money in there. And so, you know, that way I know to get you a ticket or put your name on a ticket. Here's the people who have registered and made their down payment. Super glad to have added Cody on there. Looking forward to adding all the rest of your names on here. All right. The live dial room, virtualsuccessoffice.com.
Let me make a comment on that for just a second, please.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Jump in, brother.
For all of you that were at Ignite was really kind of a cool thing. You know, got a lot of hype and, you know, a lot of information. The national conference is Ignite at least ×2.
At least.
And so there's a lot of stuff that goes on, a lot of information, a lot of really good information. And so it's really worth the time, and it's worth the investment. You really need to try to go. So
agree. Absolutely agree. And you know, it's not even much of a financial commitment right now because you still got quite a few months to break that down, you know, on how you can pay that out. So, Jerry, have I done you for any money?
no, and I wrote down one more time. I need to get you paid.
Well, I didn't put you on the spot for that. I'm just saying it's.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm not going to send people out to break your kneecaps or anything.
Appreciate that.
Honest people.
Justin,
Yes.
we might ought to include on there what the total cost of the ticket is.
Yeah, 179. So good point, Leslie. Can you do something about your voice?
Yeah, you bet.
So yes, ma'am, I will add that. Good observation. Thank you for that. Okay, Jerry, we good to go, brother?
Yeah, good.
Okay, let's get this list huge. Do you realize what would happen to this team and this call if this is 50 people by the time we go? You won't recognize this team 90 days after that.
Hey, Justin,
Yes, sir.
quick question. Where do you get the information for like the hotel reservation and all that kind of stuff too, if you want to book it ahead to make sure, you know, you have a room and all that?
In HQ. You can always, matter of fact, we'll pull that up. Ben, don't let me forget, we'll pull that up before we close out this meeting for sure. And,
yeah, I'd just like to know the hotel. I'm assuming it's going to be at a hotel like the one Ignite was.
Ben, there are so many people there. there are multiple hotels. You know, there's a main one, but you know, I don't remember, there's multiple hotels all around the convention center. So.
Oh, it's at the convention center?
It's at the
Okay.
convention center there in Denver. So it's a
Downtown, yeah,
huge,
okay.
yeah, huge venue, hotels all over the place.
Got it.
And
So,
I wanted us to have, because this is going to have to go to an overflow room. I think the actual room holds 3,500 people, I think. There'll be more than that there. So as soon as they announced, they gave us 2 days to buy owner's packs.
Growth Superintendent's Office.
An owner packet has 10, and I bought 2. So I bought 20 tickets. It was like a $3,800 investment because I wanted us all to be in the room to feel those emotions and all those things. So we have those 20 tickets, and those tickets are valuable. I've had people reaching out to see if I have any left, and I tell them no, because we're going to fill it up. I plan on having to get more. So we will go over that, but it's at a convention center, and there's a whole bunch of hotels right there close.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the promotion for the year. Chris Leak course after the first sale, $50 league credit after the 5th. Ben's at 4, he's fixing to hit 5. After 10, it's $75 league credit, new team leader 100, key leader 150. All right, so new agent orientation. Because of my voice, Leslie's voice, I set a hard date of next Thursday, February 28th at 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time will be our first new agent orientation. This is going to be a very deep dive and help people get off to a much faster, less confusing start. This is going to become a part of our culture. We're going to do it at least once a month. As more and more people are coming on board, we will adjust as needed. We'll do multiple per month, whatever we need to do to make sure everybody's getting off to a good, quick start. So February 28th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. SFG Agency Group Hub .com. Don't forget that site. There's so much valuable information and recordings on there, including this one right here. Bo Hirschfield doing live dials. He's produced, I think, right in the neighborhood of 900,000 APV just in the last 2 years. Keep these documents on your desk, know them, understand them, always be running for something. If you're running for something, it's going to help you get there if you know what it takes to get there. So don't just have them on your desk, know them and understand them, okay? Wherever you're at, always be running for the next level. And if you're not on the levels of leadership yet, you need to be. Unless you want to be a slave to the field for your rest of your life, you need to be building both of these. You need to be building that level of leadership, that passive income that's going to come in, even if you're down and out, like Leslie and I kind of have been the last few days. Now, this is one of the things that Ignite that I really enjoyed and really got a lot out of. I loved the presentation that John Ziller and Miranda Martin did. And they have a podcast that comes out right around Tuesday every week. It usually is Tuesday. And it's Don't Suck at Sales podcast. And so there's a lot of great information shared there weekly. And they're recorded. So if you want to listen, just go search Miranda Martin in Facebook, and you'll see lots of recordings on there, and you can listen to them. But I'm going to make this a part of my personal development weekly. I'm going to listen to at least, I'm way behind on these, so I'm going to listen to at least one a week right now, but hopefully 2 to kind of help myself get caught up. And I am, thought I had it right here with me, but this book right here, Ashley, myself, Colton and Timberly all have this book. Starting to go through it again. I've read it once. But the book of the month is going to be, although we're not quite done yet, it's going to be The Slight Edge for this month, which is an outstanding book. This will be the 5th time I've read that one. Never Have a Goose Egg Month. I'm looking forward to changing that to Never Have a Goose Egg Week. Until your goals are where you need them to be from a income standpoint and net profit standpoint, you really need to be striving to have applications every week. People say, well, I need that weekly paycheck every week. Well, okay, don't have a goose egg week. And you'll have a much larger paycheck every week than you're going to get trading time for money. So, all right. So next week, if she's up to it, Leslie's going to be training us on how she is so consistent, what it takes to do what Leslie does. And you and I, all of us know that Leslie don't fluff nothing. She's going to tell you the real truth. And so I'm really looking forward to that. We talked about it 3 weeks ago. I have not even confirmed that with her because she was sick this morning. But if anything changes there, you don't want to miss these calls. They're going to be great every week. So let's get off of here real quick and stop the actually, let me go to HQ here real quick and see where they have the. I'm gonna have to find it, but it shouldn't be too hard to find because I registered so long ago. Are y'all now seeing
Yes,
my
HQ.
Okay. So a lot of times important stuff is right here. And if it's not here no more, you can always find it over here in the news, okay? So it's going to be in one of those two areas. So just kind of go through and you'll be able to find it in here. There's several different hotels all right there. Leslie's been, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, there's like 3 or 4 hotels all right there and you can walk
Right.
to the center from there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we didn't go last year, but the first year, you know, I wound up staying at the Embassy Suites there, which was a lot of Kyle Timbrell's folks stayed at.
Yeah.
And that was a nice place. I mean, they're all nice hotels and
All right. So now I can see who we got on here. All right. So sorry, just catching up here real quick. Okay. So Jerry, I want to start with you this morning.
uh-oh.
Well, you're definitely a seasoned agent in the industry. Not a ton of cemetery events under your belt, but some. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about kind of your takeaways from this past week.
Okay. So, my takeaways may be a little bit different than other folks, because, just where I am, what I'm doing. The consistent message that was kind of put out there was when you cut through all the emotions, all of the fluff, all of the hype, was consistency. You got to do this every day. You don't necessarily have to do it to the point where it exhausts you, but you got to be consistent. You got to set your schedule. You got to have a consistent pipeline of leads, however you get them. I mean, it may be, people that you go out and rope off the street, maybe leads you buy, all different, but you got to have a consistent pipeline. And consistency is, while it may be a little bit boring, that's what successful people do. Now, I've been to a lot of these sales conferences and a lot of different venues and a lot of different industries. And you pick up things. There's always, people have, here's how to do it. And then the next speaker that comes up, here's how to do it. Next speaker comes up, here's how to do it. And a lot of times they're different, right? And so, this goes to show you that you got to find what you do. And so, you know, the years and years I've done this, you know, there's always someone who has a kind of a formulaic, that's the right word, approach to a sale. You know, how do you set people up, and how do you get to people, and all this, which personally I've never been comfortable with. I mean, I've never been comfortable with telling somebody, you know, oh, you know, this is the last appointment I have on my calendar, as an example, you know, when in fact it may not be. You know, my tendency is to try to want to accommodate these people that are willing to come in and, you know, and quote, buy something from me. And so that I always have a difficult time with that approach, and therefore I don't do it. Now, I will set appointments and make suggestions simply because it helps them. You know, what time's good for you? Well, geez, I don't know. And when you ask people, you know, is morning or afternoon better? Well, you know, let them choose. And if it fits my calendar, great. Morning. Okay, how about 9:30? Okay, that works great. I'm just not going to tell people that, oh man, you know, lucky you, this is the last slot that you have on it. You know, it's kind of like telling somebody you got to buy it today or the price goes up, kind of deal in my mind. But whatever works. The other thing that I pulled, and if somebody has a different opinion, great. That's just Jerry. The other thing that was really important, I think, was keeping track of what you do, data, or data is whatever Miner said, right? I couldn't figure out where that word came from. But just keep track. How many leads did I get this week? How many calls did I make? How many people did I contact? You know, and the one metric I've always paid attention to, and I've always encouraged folks to pay attention to, is how many people did I talk to? You're not here to do dials, is my opinion. You're not a phone operator. You're not a call center. You're here to talk to people. Now, it takes dials and it takes activity to get there. But, you know, when I have people tell me, well, geez, I did 100 dials, or I did, you know, however many it is. I mean, okay, good. You know, you got to do those to get there. But the question is, how many people did you talk to? And in my mind, that's what's important. You know, you hear people say you can't control outcomes, you can control activities, which is true. But one of the things I learned very early, you know, in the ancient times when I first started into the work environment, was results is what matters. You know, activity is great, but if it doesn't yield results, then it's just activity. And so ultimately, you got to pay attention, and you got to figure out a way to break through and get results. And if that's changing, you know, the times that you dial, it's changing how you approach people, changing how you're changing your speech inflection. You know, when you listen to people on the phone a lot of times, my goodness, would you buy from them? You know, and so, you know, those kinds of things, you just have to pay attention to the details, seek help when you get stuck. And I guess that's kind of what I came away with.
Jerry, thank you, sir. I did actually help Colton with that scheduling yesterday. He had placed a lead order yesterday. One of them came in. Colton reached out to him immediately. He responded immediately. So text is fine. And, you know, he got the quotes ready, done for him. And he just said, you know, we can go over those later today or tomorrow. And the guy, you know, just said either's fine. So he got the lead, done the quotes, had the appointment, all within a short window yesterday.
Right.
And so good speed to lead. But but anyways, I want to get a little bit younger's perspective too, but I always like to kind of dig in a little bit to some of the things because results are what matter. That's why the most important thing to track is net profit. And net profit here is not as cut and dry as some other businesses. Now, why is that? Because we're advanced commissions that we have not earned yet. You see what I'm saying? So you might look at this month. I had a great sales month, had a great issue paid month. Does that mean at that point that your net profit was, say, 95%? That's data for figuring your net profit, but it's not your net profit. See, it takes 10 months of consistent activity here at a minimum to know your net profit numbers. Okay. Now, why is that? Because you've actually earned those commissions, right? When month 10 starts, when month 9 ends, you've earned that money, right? So if you want to figure your net profit month by month by month, you know, obviously the math is easy, right? But for it to be accurate, you know, you've got to carve that up. You've got to divide that. Does that make sense? You can divide it by 12, and then you'll actually know your net profit numbers. Okay. Now, so here's the difference. You've got your operating costs, your operating budget, and you've got your net profit numbers. Without those two being tracked simultaneously, your numbers are never going to be accurate. So if you have that $22,000 in commissions that month, and it cost you $3,500 in operating cost, well, you've got a good budget for the next month, right? But that still doesn't mean that's your net profit yet. So not to confuse that, just know the difference. And once you have those numbers, it becomes very mathematically predictable what you can make here every single month with what your skill set allows. And so, but with that said, it all comes back to consistently doing what you got to do, which is what Miss Leslie will be talking about tomorrow. So let's go to a little bit, somebody went to his very first conference and is very new to the industry. Colton, talk a little bit about your experience last week.
Yeah, so excuse me, there were a couple kind of key things I took away from it. Number one is just that it is very possible to be very successful in the industry. So, you know, some of these things that you go to and some of the people that I have listened to speak that are very successful kind of seem like superheroes. And you look at them and you're like, you know, I could never do that. Like that person is just different than me. And I didn't really feel that way when I went to this conference. I felt like it was more people that were dedicated and willing to work and willing to sacrifice and do those things and just work hard rather than, you know, maybe like a God-given talent or anything like that. It was just like people that were willing to work and willing to learn and then put the time in, and then that's how they are where they're at. So that was kind of the biggest thing for me, is just seeing that it is possible. And then kind of like Jerry, one of the things I wanted to do going in was just find kind of that common denominator that they mentioned or discussed as to like a little bit of why they were having success. And, from a skill perspective, the thing that I realized that they do that I don't do as well is just asking the right questions. Like asking good questions and then letting the client kind of lead you, or prospect lead you to where you want to go or where they want to go, rather than, kind of just telling them, well, like A, assuming, and then B, telling them, oh, I think that this is, the best thing for you. And it has this and this and this. Well, it's just doesn't work. I mean, honestly, it just doesn't work. Like asking the best questions, when to ask the questions. I think that was something that kind of changed my perspective, from like a skills aspect, is just asking questions. And it also made me realize that I have a lot of work to do as far as the actual skill and like the craft of talking to people and letting them take you where they want to go, rather than trying to kind of push people in a direction that, you think is best. But those were really like the two main kind of key things that I brought back from it.
Stuff, Colton. Appreciate it, bud. Miss Lisa, let's get a female perspective. I don't want to pick on Leslie with her feeling the way she feels.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my speaker. First of all, just meeting all of you guys, just incredible, incredible people. All of you. I mean, everybody that I met, spent time with, it was just a blessing in my life to spend that time that way. So very grateful for that. Just kind of what I took from it, like Jerry said, a lot of my thinking was consistency. I failed in that area, and I am trying to lay out a specific schedule. I also like what Colton just said in terms of just knowing what to say, just not trying to be too forceful. I am not one that just tells somebody, like Jerry said, oh, I've only got one appointment, when that's not the case. And so just listening to people and being a better ear. But definitely a wonderful experience in terms of just uplifting. They do really make you feel that it's possible, what you want to do. And if you are willing to work hard and put the time into it, that you can achieve that. So very blessed time.
It was, Lisa. It was definitely an honor to finally get to hug your neck in person.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get the sickness. I mean, I've kind of got a
didn't.
scratchy throat, but
I felt fine down there. I'm not so sure that I didn't catch something from Houston. And
yeah.
So
Yeah.
but
Not my Houston. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So all right. Todd, are you there with us, my friend?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Did you say my name?
Yeah. What did you bring back from the conference?
Man, if anything, I mean, I want to say it's kind of just the same thing as everybody else. Like these people that went up there and talked on stage. I mean, you look at them and you see them, and they're no different than me. They're no different than you. I mean, I don't think that they have any sort of talent that we don't have. I think that they're just plain consistent, and whereas speaking for myself, I'm not. So, I'll never be able to get to that point unless I'm consistent.
Well,
Yeah, and other than that, the sales, like the sales training, it was the don't suck at sales. I mean, I just took a lot of training about a lot of training on that one. I could kind of contradict what Jerry says. I mean, my opinion on it is the busier you make yourself seen, the easier it is to sell. And I get, that's not everybody's thing. It's just something that's worked for me. And I did learn a lot of stuff as far as what I wasn't doing, as far as, my role and purpose. Maybe I wasn't building the client's why enough. Um, as you found out, definitely not finding something. I need to find something more affordable for them, for sure. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. The energy, it was cool. It was like it was just a cool conference altogether.
So,
Let me just make a comment. Because maybe I wasn't clear when I made my comment about activity. And I didn't mean to indicate that activity wasn't important. It is. I mean, activity and being busy, like you said, Todd, is really important. It's just that in my way of thinking, it doesn't count. I mean, I gotta be busy and I gotta do things in order to achieve the results, and at the end of the day, if you can't, whatever the result is that you're trying to achieve, if at the end of the day you can't rack up an achievement, all it was activity. I don't make money on activity. I make money on results.
well, they're all hand in hand, to get results requires
Right.
activity. So I think we're all on the same page here. Just focusing in on, uh, a different part of the equation. The equation's the equation, right? So, but so just a few things for me that I jotted down was I talk a lot about systems. I talk a lot about game plans. I talk a lot about goals and your why and all those things. Well, one thing I've always done, but I never really thought about it, I just done it, but Edward Pritchett eloquently put it into words to launch the conference is, what is your game plan for getting better at sales? Have a game plan to be able to better execute your game plan, right? And he called it the 3 S's. What's your game plan for getting better at sales? We have great systems here. What's your game plan for getting better at using the systems? What's your game plan for getting better at learning the systems and having a better understanding of them? And self-development was the 3rd S. Your business is only going to get as big as you are. And he asked the question, would you follow you? So I asked myself right then and there, would I follow me? And I had to put some deep thought into that. So my goal is always to become a better leader, a better agent, a better person. And I try to work on that daily. But would I follow me? I don't know. But I do want to become that person. And I am going to continually strive to become a better person to follow. So don't suck at sales. Something I found very interesting because I'm a data type person is statistically in the first 3 seconds, a person decides whether they're going to talk to you or not. And they talked about how to deflect by using what they call a run-on sentence. So there was a lot of hype in this, which is great, but there was also a lot of skills talked about. The run-on sentence method was awesome. No commas, no periods, all in the first paragraph. They tell you exactly when to pause, exactly when to take that breath. I mean, that's why I decided, I think our whole team could tremendously benefit from their podcast. It's 2 very, very successful people in the industry. And they do a great job of making it entertaining and fun. So, I got so many notes here. Okay, let me go back to a different page here. Okay, so I'll come back to mine. Leslie, I don't even think, do you even want to try to speak? If you don't,
I
it's
will,
okay.
if you guys can understand me, yeah.
Okay, go for it, my friend.
So I kind of wanted to piggyback off what you just said. When I was taking notes, one of the things I wrote down is we'll never be the best we're ever going to be, right? We just got to keep learning. And I've probably spent years telling you guys, we're just looking for the person that's looking for us. And I don't believe that anymore. And so Colton and I have spent some time talking about this. I'm really good at closing the people that absolutely want this, but I'm leaving business on the table with the people that aren't necessarily a buyer, but they're not necessarily saying no, right? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of families I'm not taking care of, and that's a lot of money I'm walking away from. So I do think the don't suck at sales is a big deal. There's also a lot of free Jeremy Miner stuff that's in HQ. Go find that. Um, Colton and I think Shanna has even bought his little black book of objections. So it doesn't even matter how long I've been here. I think talent's important, but talent's not going to carry a quitter, right? So when you peak that level of talent, if you don't have that grit to stick and stay and keep, you're not going to make it here. So I just did some self-reflecting on where my business is at and where it's failing. And that's where I'm at, is the people that are not buyers, but they're not saying no. I'm not doing due diligence to get them, to really make a decision. I'm making it easy for them, right? One of the things that popped up with the Jeremy Miner thing, and I've tried it, and Colton's going to play with it, is take the word think out of your vocabulary. So when you're talking to somebody and you say, do you think this would work for your family? Remove that and start using feel. Do you feel like this would be beneficial to your family? And I've kind of played with it. In spite of being sick, The Slight Edge, if you read that book, it'll change your life. It'll change different aspects of your life, not just selling. So yesterday, obviously I'm not talking to anybody. I think the only person I talked to was Colton, because I have appointments today, and I'm gonna try to run my appointments tomorrow. So I'm just gonna focus on sending text. So I think the texts are powerful. They're brand new leads. I'm just not calling them. So I literally sent a text, hey, this is Leslie, your mortgage protection advisor. I just need to schedule a quick 5-minute chat with you. And I did start incorporating my last appointment on Thursdays, 5 p.m. Do you want it? And I set appointments from that. And I've also gone back to, once they say yes, I'm sending them another one. Can you please confirm by typing yes? And I don't have a lot of no-shows anyhow, so I really don't have any data right now to support that. But I feel like keeping that engagement super important. We're all going to learn, right? I mean, there's so many. I mean, these people do feel like they're superstars, but when you hear their stories, it's almost tragic, right? The stories that they tell, they're heart-wrenching, but to know that they could take this business and change the outcome of that story, I think is crazy. And I have a story too, so it's kind of relatable for me when I hear them. Sorry, we've heard this concept of triple dialing. Whenever I feel better, I'll probably do a video so Justin can stick that in our training site. But there's a new idea as far as triple dialing that I'd never heard before. And then this is kind of serious, and I really want to stress this whenever we go to conference. And I'm going to use Todd as an example because I know where his heart lies and I know where his loyalty is. Todd would be a great example of wanting to bail ship, right? Like there's young people out there other than on our team that are relatable to him. They may be in California. They may be on a team that's super explosive. And I want to talk about this because it actually happened to me at conference. This lady came up and she was like, I really need to talk to you and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, my AO doesn't give me any support, and I could feel the vibe, like, how do I get with you? And I just stopped her and I said, and no offense to Justin, he knows my heart when I say this, your AO doesn't make or break you. They just don't. And like I told her, I said, if your AO is getting an override, thank God, right? They deserve it. They mentor a lot of people. If you have an AO that doesn't mentor you and he's getting an override, thank God he's the reason you're still here, right? So whenever you go to conference and these people are so relatable and they feel like you have something to offer, they're just grasping at, they think there's a secret out there to how to become successful. It doesn't. You have to look in the mirror and it lies solely on you. And the reason I use Todd is because I can see people wanting Todd. Todd, come over here. The grass is greener over here. And like I said, I'm using him because I know where his loyalty is. But that happens at conference, and we've lost people from that. So, I just want to, just make that statement, that when we go to conference, stay loyal to your people, because at the end of the day, the grass isn't greener. The only success you're going to have here is the success you make.
Great stuff, Miss Leslie. Yeah, the feel, they call it the feel, felt, found method. Once you find out how they feel, Colton, I understand how you feel. Before I got my things in order, my state in order, proper things protected, I felt the same way. Once I got all that done, this is what I found. It's called the feel, felt, found method. So you validate how they feel. You once felt the same way, and this is what you found after you got it taken care of. I sleep better at night. I know that I've done the right things as a leader of my household, things like that. So there's a lot of things in there. It sounds like one topic, but when you dig into that topic, there's a lot of stuff there that Leslie just talked about. And so a couple more analytical things. I thought it was pretty neat that somebody tracked this, that the average agent, the agent that works her tail off, 550 leads a month is the max that an agent can properly handle. Max. I could tell you I couldn't handle 550, but some can. But one thing I do want to get out there, so I do not forget, February 23rd, Americo is launching their instant decision IUL. That's going to be a great addition to our suite of products, an instant issue IUL. February 23rd is when that launches. So Cody, let's get your thoughts, my friend.
Oh my, we could be on this for days. We were there for 2 days, but everything I put into it could talk about for a month. One thing I took, someone said, is it too late to start? And they said, we're just now starting. Another one is, well, I'm just starting at the bottom. Well, there's no bottom, there's just the beginning. There was just so much that took out from everybody, being new, starting this business. One thing all the speakers, they were like, I have no money when I started this, didn't have no skills, didn't know what I was doing, and just repetition after repetition, they become better. And now they're up there at Ignite speaking in front of 1,000 people. No, I took off yesterday to go help some family friends with their Valentine's business, and I was there from like 9 to 9 actually, and had people be like, need to do this, need to do that. One thing right here on top of my notes is I don't have a boss, I have partners. We're all our own CEO of our business. The sacrificing, that's one thing I piggyback off Colton is, and like Leslie has said many times, say no to people. Do this. No, I have to work. I need to do this. The only person people stopping ourselves is ourselves. Like I said, there is I have about 10 pages just of notes. The elite producer that Colton Timberly and I went to, Jeremy, Ashley, and there's an old cowboy named Kobe up there. Like, he is straight to the point. There is no BS. His calendar is set up where 8 to 11 he is dialing, or 8 to 1 he's dialing, 1 to 3 he's recruiting, and he's like, I don't have no shows because I do the one call. I know I was listening to Todd talk his meeting the other day. He was like, I try to sell him on the first call. I don't try to get them to have a second appointment unless absolutely have to. If I can get them on the phone right then and there and discuss what their problems were, I don't need to have another appointment. I get the policy to them right then and there. So there was just so much I took away from this. Obviously, like I said, Tuesday at lunch, I went and put my money in for the Denver. I was like, I'm not missing a conference because this was huge. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be powerful, but not as powerful as it was. And I was like, I am not missing another one.
Yeah, and I could tell you those feelings at conference, that was one of the best feelings I had to see Cody commit to conference, because really he's committing to growing as much as he can by conference and switching the burners, making this the priority. And so it was awesome to see that.
Oh yeah. One other thing.
Yes, sir.
I was like, I told Justin, I was like, I want to be the one where Leslie and Justin sees my name and they're like, oh, he's calling me again. But it's because I want to learn and grow that I have mentors to help me.
Yeah, I'm an honor to be able to help somebody like Cody become a leader in this industry. So, Timberly, I don't know if you can speak or not. I think you're getting ready for school. Her phone's always staring at the ceiling.
Sorry, I'm here, Dad. I feel like overall, it was just beneficial, like in every aspect of business. I feel like with insurance specifically, there's like very few things that you need to know to be successful in this business outside of like yourself. And I feel like insurance is such a me industry because it solely relies on you. Like, you can have an insane month, and if you don't have the drive or the discipline or responsibility or anything like that, it can all be gone in a second because you do have to invest a lot into it as well. And that can all go away fairly fast. And I feel like for me, working at a hospital for, a little over a year, I was working 12-hour shifts, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and I was miserable. And I got paid a decent amount. It was pretty decent. But with school and this and that, I just was not happy. I dreaded going to work every single day. And I've seen my dad do this business for a very long time, and through all the ups and downs, I've seen good and bad, but I was just always so attracted to it because of the freedom. But I've also always been like a very black and white person, right and wrong, this and that. And so for me, it was easier for me to say, oh, well, this is all on me and it's not on what my boss tells me to do. Or for me, like, I was working with my patients, and so it was what kind of they needed me and when they needed me. And in a way that correlates with insurance, these people need stuff, and I've always had like a serving heart. I've always wanted to help people in a way, and this gives me the same satisfaction that the hospital did. And so I think for me, seeing people that did make a switch, like when me, Cody, and Colton went to that breakout session, there were like 2 teachers up there, and they were husband and wife. And I actually took a lot away from them because they look like ordinary people, they act like ordinary people, they had ordinary jobs, and they just decided to jump full in and make that switch. And they've become very successful because of it. And I felt like that was very inspiring for me because I am still really young. I am still in school, so I don't have all the time in the world. But I like try to do as much as I can, and I'm always trying to learn. And like with Colton, like I see him every day, and I've sat through and like listened to him call people, and he was on the phone with this lady for like an hour. And you could tell right off the bat she didn't know who to trust. She didn't know whether she was gonna say yes or no. And Colton stayed on the phone with her for an hour, and she was telling him everything. This and that, was like, let's get it going immediately. And I was in shock. I was in shock because immediately she was like, no, kind of trying to steer away from it. But then she started to trust him, and that's something that I want, is for like my people to trust me and understand like I'm here to help them and I'm doing everything that I can for the benefit of them. And I felt like that's all the conference was like centered around. Like, you see the people that make tons of money and they're super successful and this and that, but at the end of the day, like, they're just helping thousands and thousands of people, and that's something that I've always wanted. So for me, I got so much out of it, but it was just very, very inspiring for me. So I think that's it. That's what I got from it mostly, was just that you can help people, and the end result of it is you can make tons of money. But my like first thought was that, oh, I can help people the same way that I did at the hospital, because it was hard for me to make that switch. I was miserable for probably 10 months at the hospital before I finally decided, okay, I'm done. And it was scary to make that switch, but I'm so beyond thankful that I did. And it just kind of reassured me at the conference that I was at the right place and I made the right decision. And I'm not the only one who's made a decision like that before. So I thought it was really great. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. It was awesome.
Thank you, Susie.
Yeah.
Colton, I
welcome.
saw you unmute. Did you have something to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that the lady
Don't say
that
something rude about me.
I'm not, the lady I talked to, the APV was $179, and I spent like an hour and 10 minutes with her on the phone getting it done. And it's funny because that APV is like, nothing compared to what you can make, like $179. And then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, but where else can you go and talk to somebody on the phone for an hour? And I think I got paid $110 for it. So, I mean, I still made $110 per the hour that I spent with her, even though it was hardly anything as far as, like in the grand scheme of things, it was very little APV. But it just kind of like changed my mindset, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I spent an hour on the phone, $179 APV. Well, yeah, but where are you going to go work for $170 or $110 an hour that doesn't require, doctorate or whatever it may be?
Yeah, great insight. And Colton's actions in developing himself and becoming more consistent, his parents have always been a huge supporter of Colton and his dreams. But she's had a W-2 job her whole life. His dad's had a W-2 job his whole life. So it was a little bit of a scary decision when Colton made this decision. And because of the development Colton's went through, his mother got the Excel study course, what, Monday, Tuesday?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know we're already past time. The Cabral call started 2 minutes ago, but I saved Ben for last because I know it was probably pretty overwhelming for him, as new as he was. And I saw him rushing from breakout session to breakout session. But Ben, I definitely wanted to give you opportunity to share some of your thoughts as well.
Well, yeah, well, thanks. I'll two quick things. First of all, definitely verified that you married up. That's number one thing I did get.
How do I mute Ben? Let me mute Ben real quick.
Yeah, yeah. Secondly, honestly, because I've done this for 40 years, I'm talking about sales, people. Right now, I'm still assimilating everything, but my hurdle right now is product knowledge and really knowing what to sell. The other stuff, I mean, I enjoy it and it's certainly good. And I think everybody ought to do it, especially someone newer to sales, as far as the hype and the excitement and that kind of thing. That, just because I'm old, is not why I do these now. I'm looking for information that I can use mainly on product, and that's kind of what I'm assimilating. So to put my finger on it right now, and unfortunately I was only been able to spend one full day there because of other issues I had and the drive back and forth and those things. But I'm definitely going to try my best to be in Colorado, and maybe by then I'll have more knowledge on my product base and kind of how I'm going to go about pursuing. I'm trying to assimilate in my mind where to start. In other words, what are my top? I don't want it to be too overwhelming, so I'm saying, okay, I'm going to focus on these 3 products, and that's what I'm going to do, and get to know those 3 products. Because if not, there's like 700 products, or it's nearly too much. But for the most part, it was great. It was good to meet you guys, most of y'all. But it was really nice, and I got a free meal out of Justin, which I appreciate. That was pretty nice too. But anyway, other than that, it was great. I'm looking forward to Colorado, and hopefully I can continue to build my knowledge on the products and the processes and the HQ and navigating myself around it. And I know Leslie and Justin are probably getting tired of me. Hey, where do I find this? And how do I do this? And all the texts that I keep sending. And then they keep giving me the same answer. Go to HQ, go to HQ. I'm thinking, I went there. I can't find it. But anyway, that's what I got out of it. And it's great. Looking forward to going forward here. If I can just start generating me some really good money, I can afford to go to Colorado.
Yeah, you'll be there, Ben. You'll be there, and you'll have a team there with you. So, with that said, I know we usually open it up at this time, but we just don't have time today. The Thursday Cambrell call is one I do not like to miss. And I'm having a coughing fit. So, Colton, I hate to call on you again, but would you mind closing us out as well?
Yeah, no worries. Dear Heavenly Father, come to you again. I just want to say thank you for everybody on the call. I pray that you just place your hand on us and that you just walk us through this life and lead us in the right direction. We love you, and it's in your name that I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Colton.
Yes, sir.
All right. Guys, have a blessed day.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes, sir.